The idea was to cover the whole wellness industry. I wanted to have actually a name that was different. The closest thing was the Australian Natural Therapy Association, and I wanted to. I didn't want to use natural therapy. I thought I have to be different to them. So I thought, well, the closest word to that would be complementary, and so that's how I kind of landed on that name. And it was really just the idea of like I want to, have a global solution. Yeah, well, the company that probably inspires me the most in the way of how they do things is probably Virgin. So it's a little bit irreverent, it's a bit wacky, it's a bit cheeky, it's a bit out of the box. It's heart-centered, it's connected. Ours is more about connection. It has more empathy. It has more, Virgin has that idea where like we're going to change the world, and we have that as well. But we're doing it like really from the heart, and I think that's the difference. It has more of it's more of a feeling state related to the brand, but still has that fun, slightly irreverent. It's very disruptive idea too. Yeah, so I feel like we're a disruptive business because you look at the conventional standalone modality associations, and we're saying like there's a sense of rebelliousness, I think, in the brand voice as well. IICT really came out of my initial work in running my own natural therapies school and training, and we had a lot of people wanting to get access to insurance and to have their modality covered. So we started out just with Reiki, and then I had the Reiki Institute, and I had a membership linked to that so people would be able to get insurance. And the reason I did that is because I was looking at all the other associations in that modality, and it was very rigid and it didn't really fit the model of how I was teaching and what I was wanting to bring into the world. I offered that out to our Reiki practitioners, and then those people also had training in other modalities, and they were saying, well, could we get my massage thing covered under the same policy, or would you extend it to this or that modality? And so I had a relationship with an insurance broker at the time, and I just asked them, well, what other modalities do you cover? And they came back to me with a list of 50 different modalities. I could broaden this out to other occupations. It got to the point where word of mouth and whatnot, people were wanting to join, and they hadn't done Reiki, they'd done other modalities, and I was issuing these certificates of membership under the Reiki Institute, and it didn't really fit. It's like, we need a broader term. Part of that, around that time as well, I had a number of people asking me, they did a lot of individual modalities and they had to join multiple associations that specialized only in that modality, and it was very expensive. And a lot of people saying, I wish there was just one body that covered the whole industry, and someone should do that. And I was thinking, yeah, I could do that. So I had that idea of like, well, why don't I create something? I was operating the business in Fremantle. I had probably a couple of hundred members at that stage under the Reiki Institute, and I thought, well, I want to bring a big vision to the world, so I'm going to call it something really big, so I called it the International Institute for Complementary Therapists. So at the time, only was able to provide cover in Australia, and then eventually with the insurer that I was working with, we were able to extend it to New Zealand. I was reading Tim Ferriss's book, The 4-Hour Workweek, and there was one line in that book that said, if you want to scale, you should open your business in new market. And I was like, what about the UK? So I just thought to myself, okay, I'm going to call up some different insurance providers in the UK and to see, look, would they be offered this solution in that country? And they said, yeah, of course. So then they said yes, and then I was like, okay, we're in the UK, so we started providing the membership over there. And some of the schools and colleges were hearing about what we were doing, and they were looking for a more streamlined, all-inclusive solution, and that sort of led to that. And then we changed insurance brokers again, and then they said, well, we do the UK, but we also cover Europe. Would you like to cover people in Europe? Absolutely, so we just kept on going from that, and then eventually ended up with something in the US and then Canada, and so that's how it's evolved over time. And I really like the words we've been using lately, like heart-centered, heart-focused, and community, all those things. I think those words are there, and I think there's also an element of people feeling connected and inspired by what we're doing as well. So the experience of it is definitely evolving, and I feel like we, after a lot of failures and a lot of false starts, we're really starting to find that traction in the market and being really trusted and recognised. And I think a lot of our rebranding and the effort we've been putting in the last 12 months has been definitely pivotal to that.